You only got two choices in this life. You can either be a domesticated man or you can be a sovereign man. The domesticated man is the one he's caged, trapped by the expectations of the outside world. He don't move unless the outside world is giving him some kind of touch point of feedback for him to get some validation because he's not self-validated. So basically the world is telling him to jump and his response is how high. Now, the man on the other side is the sovereign man. That's the one that's free inside of his mind because he's taking the journey, like I always talk about, inside of himself to patch up all the weak points, all the soft spots, anything that would cause him to compromise himself in his walk through the outside world. He already went deep inside himself and fixed it. And that allows him to be free in his mind because now he knows that he's capable of taking care of himself because now he knows that the outside world doesn't make him who he is. And when domesticated men see sovereign men, they get sick to their stomach because they start to think about all the different ways that they compromise and folded on their values, the morals, if they have any, just to fit in and to be liked, to be acknowledged, and still having to deal with the uneasiness of not knowing where the people around them really respect them or not. The most important attribute to a man. These men do all that bending over backwards and still don't get what they want all the way. It's a flash in the pan. And to avoid that, you got to become the sovereign man. And more specifically, you got to practice something I call masculine magic. The internal tool that you get at the intersection of dropping your nuts and accepting your raw primal energy that you possess as a man. And then refining that primal energy into a master key that allows you to unlock any level of life. Because no matter what you have, where you are, who you with, you still the same. And even if a certain level of life seems to be locked to you, you already had a protocol within your own world to run it back and see where you lacking at, see where you don't match up, to see if the opportunity itself doesn't match up to you, if it's not aligned with who you really are. Is it something that you need to walk away from? These are all questions that the sovereign man can answer quickly because he has that masculine magic. And what makes him even stronger with the masculine magic is that he has the courage, the backbone, the balls to practice, to wield it and utilize it. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to do the same thing. But for you to even understand how to pick the lock, you first got to understand that you've been domesticated. We all have to a degree. Some of us more than others, but we've all as men had these moments where we was following the script, what we thought we should do. And as we started to get more adverse, negative results from doing what they told us, we started to see the real. We like, hold up. It's something else to be learned here. I gotta take a step back. And that's exactly where your masculine magic starts to be constructed. Look at the animal kingdom, for example. When you take a lion, a tiger, any kind of apex predator, you drop them in a zoo, they put them in a cage or an enclosure. It's a slow deterioration that starts to occur. First, the physical, because they don't have to hunt anymore, so they're not working the same muscles, they're not running around and keeping the weight off. And then it's the mental. They literally lose that predator instinct, that innate part of them that makes them hunt, that motivates them to hunt outside of hunger. It's literally drained out of them drop by drop, to the point that all they do is lay around and sleep and wait for a keeper to drop food in their bowl. And modern society is just like their zoo for men because they do the same thing to us from the time we little boys. We conditioned to believe that internally that we evil, that we naturally just bad, that drive, that fire that we possess as men is something to be ashamed of or put out. The discomfort that people feel by a man that takes up emotional and physical space is something that he should feel bad about. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Because if we really look at real life, the men that exist that way, these are the ones that they reward. These are the men that get the women. These are the men that get the opportunities. And the reason why that is because typically these men show up authentically. And even though the world tells you to be a little weak punk, they really gonna give up the loot, the goods, to the man that can stand on all 10 toes and practice that masculine magic. You can do all that apologizing and shrinking if you want to, but if you do, You're gonna be living off crumbs, no steak for you. And even deeper, none of the satisfaction that comes with hunting down your own kill, with putting forth that masculine energy I'm talking about to prove your capability. First to yourself, and then by way of that proving it to yourself, the outside world recognizes it also. And the real raw truth is that you can't refine an engine, that natural part of you. You can't refine it if you're scared to turn it on. And this is what most men stop, because phase one of masculine magic is the raw aspect. Like I said in my IG video, it's dropping your nuts and unapologetically being you. I ain't telling you just be disrespectful out of stepping on people's toes and offending people, but I am telling you to have the courage to be disliked, to really stand for something and mean it, and not be scared about anybody opposing how you feel or expressing that they dislike you because of how you feel or what you believe in, what you stand on. Phase one is really the lock-in. It's where you get in shape. It's where you really start getting disciplined, eating right. It's really you versus you. It's where you stripping yourself of all the fat and the toxicity that you put in your own life to get to the real you. When thoughts come to you, when certain perspectives, views on life come to you, that they come in pure. Because a lot of these men out here have so much to say and they want to chime in about everything and be considered authorities, but they be talking a bunch of bullshit, literally, because that's what they eat. That's what they drink. They don't work out. They never sweat. So they literally full of toxicity, like literal shit. They don't prioritize good health, so they literally full of shit. If your body always inflamed, you low on energy, you mentally sluggish, all of this is pointing back to the way that you take care of yourself or the lack thereof. And it's really a power deficit. It's really a position of weakness compared to the men that you will encounter in the outside world. And what makes it dangerous for you is because it'll start to become your baseline. It'll start to become the way you just used to existing. That's how we see men get up to 300, 400 pounds. They can barely walk and move around. But they just keep on eating. They never work out. But then want to complain about this lackluster life they forced to live. Shit, you the one did it, but you also the one that can fix it. You got to stop playing defense against your own God-given design. It's really you in your own way. And then once you lock that down, you got to understand this. This is where the refinement comes into play. That the biological aspect of you, this is also a bottleneck for a lot of men right here. And it's failing to understand that raw masculine energy alone is not going to do it. It's a big part, it's a base, but it's not everything. It's just like a sledgehammer. Only thing you can do with a sledgehammer is destroy. It's a main tool when they knock down a house or something like that. We need to knock out the walls and break down beams. It's only good for destruction if you make it stand alone. It's loud, messy, reactive. And that sledgehammer life is the reality of an unrefined man. They operate off ego and impulse. The minute they feel threatened, they lash out. The woman want to back up off them, they start getting desperate or aggressive. If you ever meet a barrier or an obstacle as a man, as you constantly will along your journey, he's just trying to smash his head against it. He using brute force against anything that's in his way. But a smart man know you can't handle everything like that, because that'll get you locked up, either literally or energetically. So you gotta morph that sledgehammer into a master key. It's where you refine that raw energy and you run it through a filter of discipline, getting your body right, and emotional detachment, so that nobody controls you but you. So you really need to start thinking about yourself as an escape artist. If you ever seen a magic show, escape artists don't get out by screaming or trying to break the lock with force. They figure out how the mechanisms inside the lock make it work as it does. The escape artist, he knows where the tension in the lock sits, the leverage, and how to slip it while the audience is watching. That's refined masculine energy. When you take the journey, that time to refine your masculine drive, your presence gets heavy, but your movement stays silent. People see and they feel the weight of how you move and what you do, but they don't know how you do it. They can't put two and two together. They like, how is he moving like this? But the real magic behind it is the fact that you don't over-explain yourself no more. You don't argue with people who don't have leverage in your life. You stop sweating women. And you're able to do all that because your internal territory is already full. You don't got time for nothing else. Comfortable in that space. You don't even try to force reality to bend to your will using brute force. You get skilled in picking that lock. You see how it works, how it moves, the mechanism, the gears, the pins. And from that, you able to stay cool, calm, and collected while everybody else is running around like chickens with their heads cut off in the chaos. And the last part of this that you need to understand is that just because you refine and perfect your masculine energy, it don't mean everybody around you is just gonna accept it and appreciate it. They're gonna test you. They're gonna try you before anything. Your job, your girl, the world at large, everything that exists in your life is gonna test you, is gonna evaluate whether you really showing up as the person that you are, or if you just performing some kind of trick or little tactic that you saw on the internet. And the test never gonna stop coming. You just gonna get better at handling them. And this video is primarily about breaking free to that initial level, but as you go along in life, it's something that has to be maintained. Because the minute that you fall off and you fall off your square and you forget to keep refining your masculine energy, that's where men lose power that they once had. And that's really the barrier that exists between men, the two categories, the domesticated and the sovereign man. That's the world between them. The understanding that you have to constantly reiterate who you are as a man, not even verbally, but the way that you show up and exist. You want to show up the same all throughout your life. And as you get older and more mature and you start to understand more about life, now you have more data points to work with when it comes to refining that energy and maintaining the level of life that you get to once you accept the discomfort of dropping your nuts, showing your raw masculine energy. And then the ways that you will be tried when you accept that existence as the man is no longer chained to this manufactured reality. I tell people all the time that we on the same earth, but we in two different worlds. And that's the point that you get to when you practice that masculine magic, because you now understand that most men, they're gonna react to the weather that's created by others. But when you step into that position that I'm talking about, you are the weather. You the one that walk in and change the energetic climate in any room that you walk into. Masculine magic ain't a trick, it's an internal tool, and it'll become an external flex for you because it'll be a solid mechanism that you can deploy at any moment. And people don't know, like I said, how you do it, but they feel the effects of it. It's a simple process to get to. It ain't easy, but it is simple. Embracing your raw masculine energy, refining it into that master key that allows you to unlock any level of life that you want. And then preparing yourself for the test, really preparing yourself to stand on business throughout all the tests, all the times that people are gonna try you and try to get you to revert back to who you used to be. Standing firm, standing your ground. And then from there, it's just living your life. Stop waiting for permission to be the authority in your own life. Creation already finished. The version of you that we talking about right now, it already exists. You just not aligned with it yet. You haven't made it your daily presence. You haven't made it your norm yet. And that's what you gotta do to step up into that level. And hopefully you watching this video will be your first step up into that frequency. And if this message hit home for you, I need you to do 3 things for me. First, I need you to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the post that I'm putting up, this game that I'm dropping. Second, drop a comment down below. Let me know where you at in your journey, your climb. And third, check the description box down below so you can see the links that we have that will allow you to join my ecosystem and also support my work. Stop being a slave in a cage that you got the power to unlock. This has been Drew Deeney the Great. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.